All right, all right. Welcome, everybody. We are at what is it? Damn, December 30th, the end of the year. Wow. All right. It's been a 2023, but welcome to Mornings with Movers, the last episode of 2023. I'm Dwyght with Max Moving Training. We have Phil Diamond, all about Tampa Bay, and we have Clifford Starks, motivational coach until today. um, but yeah, what's going on, guys? How y'all been?
Good, good. How you doing, brother? Hi, hey.
That's that
Hey,
ADD right there. But we gonna
hey.
make it work.
What you say? Today's almost Christmas.
Cliff, you still oh yeah, Cliff is in the mountains, so his service is gonna be a little bad. But you hear us, Cliff?
I can now. All I could hear was some laughter at first.
Yeah, no, I don't miss dropping in the mountains, but it's been rainy the last 3 days, and I tell you, it's been kind of depressing not having that sunshine.
Ooh, painful.
Yeah, yeah. But so ultimately, how was you guys' Christmas?
I'll go first, Phil, because I might be cutting in and out. So had a lot of fun. Enjoyed family time. Actually driving in the mountains to go to New Mexico at the moment. So excited about that. And no blizzards, which is always a good thing.
Nice, nice. So I get confused. New Mexico, Mexico, is it still out of the country in a sense?
Nope. New Mexico is the country.
Okay, okay,
Yep.
okay. No, that's down. How far is that away from your residence?
It's about 4.5 hours.
Oh, that's not bad then.
Yeah, not too bad.
What about yourself, Phil? What you do for Christmas? Oh, I seen you turn up with the was it with the workers?
Yeah, man. Yeah. We had a little Christmas party for the guys as usual. It's always last minute, unfortunately. You know, it's just kind of how it is sometimes. It's all about doing something for the guys.
Yeah.
We were
Sometimes the
gonna
best parties are the ones that's unplanned.
Yeah, man. I mean,
Man,
literally, we assembled that party in like one day. Yeah,
way to go, brother.
yeah. Well, the thing, I had a couple of guys out on vacation, like a couple of weeks prior to that, and I thought it was important that everybody be there, so we were like, you know what, we'll just do it after Christmas, whether it's a week or two after. That way, we're doing something. And just kind of worked out that weekend. It was a busy weekend, but I managed to get everybody off early so they could come. So it worked. It worked out pretty good.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Well, you didn't do too bad, especially having the cornhole and everything like that all set up. And I don't know, did you use your pool and everything?
No, the spa that was at night though. That was for Mrs. and Mr. Time.
Gotcha. No, that's what's up though. So what is your vacation policy like for your guys?
uh, well, generally we like to know a month in advance, and of course, definitely not during the summer. But unfortunately, you know, it happens. We try to keep enough guys on staff, especially in the summer months, man, to where we can, because it's hot, dude. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people like taking a vacation in the summer. We live in the vacation state, so it's like,
That's what I'm
okay,
saying. It don't make no sense.
right, and so the guys, typically want to travel, somewhere else, for their vacation, whether it's North Carolina or something like that. Nobody don't want to be traveling on vacation in the damn winter. Not too
Well,
much.
in January in the winter is what, 80 degrees? But no, like I think what we did was we had a 1 week vacation build up after like being with us for like a year or so like that, where they get like 20 hours if they're part time, 20 hours of vacation time. But I think with the state making it PTO, making it mandatory PTO. I know Florida didn't have mandatory PTO, so we had the vacation time set up for Florida location, but for New York, we kept the PTO. And we will say, well, hey, once you got, your 20 or 40 hours or whatever the case is built up, you can take your vacation. And the summer months from May to August was blackout time. So if you had to be gone for a weekend, okay, great. But if you needed a whole week, that had to wait unless we had enough guys to just say, okay, well, hey, if you're gone, fine, because some people do book their trips way ahead of time, like in January or whatever the case is, even though they know the summer's blackout time, but they're like, yeah, I can get the best deal with Disney around this time. So I'm like, God damn, all right, whatever.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So I hope everybody's having a good week. I know that most people were slam busy going into Christmas, and probably some people are busy going into the end of the year. And if you diversify your services, such as cleaning services and stuff like that, you're definitely probably slammed right now because people want to have their homes clean before the new year. Um, but yeah, definitely diversifying your services is definitely going to be one of those things that you want to do, especially for the next couple of months coming forth. Like I said, getting set up with last mile delivery services is probably going to be crucial. So find delivery partners in your area, see if they need help with delivering. Now, furniture stores, I've always found a little challenge because they want to use their own people, but nowadays, because people aren't even trying to work like that, you might have a better, if your price point matches what they're looking for, like if you do a bundle deal, hey, we'll move 10 to 20 items and for a total price of like $500-600. They might go with you, might say, oh, you know what, that's not a bad bundle deal um for that price, because you got to realize that you can't charge what you charge a normal customer to move.
Boy, that fella right there concentrating while he driving. Look at him.
Yeah.
He comes in and out every now and again, boy.
I was in between two semi trucks.
I see you. I'm like, man,
Yeah, not even playing with that.
He looked like he might be in a situation now, boy, tight with it.
Right. He focused like he driving in the snow.
Man, my wife, man, she gets so bad anxiety, man, when we go to the mountains, man. Because your car, especially if you go in a truck, man, you get ready to go up, one of those inclines, man, and it seems like the truck is not wanting to go.
Oh yeah.
And then you get like 3/4 up, and then it kicks in, and you're like, oh, okay. But then you're still going, but it just everybody's passing. You're like, well, what the hell is going on?
See, I think I and I don't like to use the term PTSD, but I think I like had some traumatic experiences, especially being in the moving truck, driving to jobs, especially in the winter months. And the streets aren't 100% clear, and you got to try to make it up hills with your truck, knowing your truck ain't 4-wheel drive.
Mm.
And and then you hear all these horror stories where people go on these underpaths that aren't high enough. And luckily, I've never had the experience of taking off my roof of my truck. But I've always just get so paranoid when I go underneath a bridge. I'm like, let me look, let me see if I can make it.
Hey, that's true. New York's like the worst for that, man. I remember several years ago, man, back when we first started the business, man, a company contracted us. We didn't have any trucks at the time, but it was somebody I knew, and it was their friend's business in Manhattan. And so the guy was like, listen, I'll fly you guys out there, and I'll rent the trucks, yada, yada, yada. You just get the labor, assemble that together. Man, never again. If I never go to New York again, it'll never hurt my feelings, man. And then my luck, man. I don't know why, man. And you guys have seen, if you haven't been to Manhattan or been like New York, I'm sure you've probably seen on TV how congested it is.
Mm-hmm.
Man, everywhere I go, I run into somebody I know. So me and Melissa's walking, and I hear, Phil? And I look around, I'm like, what the hell, man? It was somebody I knew, somebody I used to work with, dude, in North. No, he lived here, and I'm like, what the hell, man?
Well,
So
that's weird because you never see the same person more than once in New York City like that, unless
yeah,
you.
and he lived there now. It was strange, man. And going back to the mountains though. So I don't know if you guys know the country singer Sam Hunt, right? I don't know if you guys heard of him, Sam Hunt, the country singer.
No.
So he's from my hometown. I went to school with his brother, man, and we were in the mountains. Speaking of mountains as well, and we're on this damn mountain, man. I think it was Ruby Falls or something like that in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I hear Philip Diamond. I'm like, oh my gosh. Melissa's like, what the hell? And talking to the guy, I'm like, man, I hadn't seen this guy in like 20 years, man. And yeah, that was there's several stories of me running into people that I know somewhere.
Yeah. No, New York City, I think I went down there for the first time when I had I bought one of those U-Haul trucks when they were selling the 26 footers. And I was like, all right, we got a pick up in New York City, which I'm like, I don't get why we have to travel all the way from Albany to pick somebody up just to bring them to Kingston, but whatever, we'll do it. Especially if they're paying. So we went all the way down to New York City, went to Manhattan, was on a tight, like one way, 2-lane street, and had a 26-foot truck, and you can't double park.
Oh yeah.
So had to drive around the block a couple of times to make sure we could find a spot. And then when you do find a spot, you got to make sure there ain't nobody behind you so you can maneuver to get into the spot. And then we get into the spot, and then we have to go up to the second floor, walk up, grab so many boxes and very little furniture, put it in the truck. And then next thing you know, because the guy was moving into a senior assistant living place, we had to drive, like I said, drive to Kingston. I think we got lost in the city for now I didn't have a truck GPS. So we got lost in the city for like 2-3 hours. Because, obviously every highway I wanted to take, there was like, oh, car only. I was like, Lord Jesus. So we sitting there driving around the Bronx, lost, trying to find a highway where we can get back north. We finally find a highway. Oh, before we find the highway, we are by the botanical gardens in the city, and we're about to go underneath this bridge. And oh snap, the bridge says 10 feet clearance.
Oh boy.
I'm like, can we back up? We look at the back of us, and the traffic is bad. Ain't no backup, no nothing. Now it's just hold up.
Boy.
Yeah, I told my worker, hey, get off the truck. We're gonna go through the middle of the bridge, because if you go through the smack in the middle of the bridge, it's usually a few feet higher. But you still want to be careful. So I had him look at him like, hey, can we make it? Because it ain't no backing up, no U-turn, no nothing. And we made it, and then eventually we started driving on the highway all the way back up north. And then it was just like, oh, well, get off. The car GPS is like, get off here. But it's like, cars only exit. And I'm like, oh, we can't get off here. Where are we going? So that was the most traumatic experience, 3-hour loss ever. And after that, I swear I went to the truck stop, got me a truck GPS, and said, never again.
Man. Yeah, it's crazy out there, man.
Yeah. And then we had, I think it was one real cold night. I think it was like 3 degrees easily. And the customer had like 3 trucks full of stuff. 2 trucks full of stuff, and 1 truck just washer, dryer, very little bit of miscellaneous. And we had to move it into his new house. We had 6 guys that day, but one guy, because it was snow outside, one guy came down the stairs, slipped, lost his life.
Oh my gosh.
And then basically it was just like, I guess he hurt his tailbone a little bit, but I think it also hurt his pride, because he got up. He sat down for a little minute. Then he was like, yeah, I'm going home. And I'm
Clifford, do you got a do-rag on?
I do not. I look like I got a do-rag on.
Yeah.
You look like 50 Cent right there.
And then an afro. It didn't almost look like he had an afro, did it? Sorry. That was killing me. I'm like, man, he got a do-rag on. I'm like, hold on, he ain't even got no hair.
Trying to keep it smooth.
I know, right? Good God.
Yeah, but that was the first time we had one guy, I guess, kind of just walk off, which was annoying because you're like, okay, well, we already know we're gonna be here all day long, and have six guys made a difference. But you know, hey, that's what happens when people wear no grip sneakers in the snow.
Yeah. You guys
Yeah,
got to
no
get,
grip
you
sucks
guys got to
enough
get,
as it is.
you guys got to get too prepared for stuff, man, up there, man. It's like, let me go out here, scrape my car off. Let me go do this. Oh, I got to go crank my car up 2 hours before. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Oh,
gotta get to the.
I can't get out my driveway. Oh shit, hold on. Let me it's like
Mm-hmm.
wait, man, see my anxiety, that would drive me crazy, dude, because I mean, I already get up early. That means I would have to get up earlier, like at midnight. You know what I mean? To even leave.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you could dust your car off at night before it gets crazy, but if it does snow overnight, if you have to be at the shop at like 7, okay, well, get up at 6, clear your car off, get to the shop around 6:50, hopefully, get the trucks running, and then basically when the guys get there, probably around like 7-ish, 7:30-ish, hey, at this point you gotta have them clear off the trucks because the trucks probably got heavy snow on the box of the truck or the
Man,
or
you
the
got there's too much going on there, man.
and you can't drive with the snow on the box top of your truck because basically if it falls off and hit a car in back of you, that's a danger. So
You know, when it snow down south, boy, they wipe out the milk and the bread. I mean, you can't even eat a damn bologna sandwich, boy, around here. I mean, that shit's gone, boy. Bread and milk. It's like, damn, y'all. Remember when Corona hit, they took all the damn shit paper. Like, damn. The hell? What is it, a damn shit virus? Like, damn.
yeah, I think Cliff mentioned something like how that was so unrelated to what was
Right.
going on.
I think
And,
that was just, I think it was marketing, bro. I think the damn paper company just like, they marketed that shit. Like, I mean, it's crazy. Like the bread and milk, man. I'm like, man, like back in my hometown, man. I mean, they call for snow, man. My grandma, Philip, go get us some bread and milk. I'm like, for what? Just in case the power go out. I'm like, oh shit, man. That joker
yeah,
froze. Look at it.
yeah, he definitely frozen.
Look at it.
And he froze in a good pose too. That's the crazy part.
Uh-huh. Like, look at it.
Like he'd be ready for this froze. Like,
I know,
yeah, just in
right?
case I freeze any minute. Let me make sure I pose.
Oh man.
But
Yeah.
no, so ultimately, yeah, Christmas wasn't bad. We did, like I said, we did the Secret Santa, even though everybody didn't go through it completely. Everybody did buy extra gifts for different people. So, we'll try it again the right way next year, see if it works. Um, but no, let me see. So, any plans for New Year's?
Not for us. I mean, we don't really go out much, so we're just gonna go to the race and see the demolition derby. But we've been strategizing for the new year all year, actually, not just coming into the new year, but for us, man, maybe this is a little bit of enlightenment for some others too, man. To start planning for the prior year, no matter what area you're in, you got to start planting a seed for any point. Now is the time to even start exploring out to different lead providers, right? And we're building systems now, more systems into the business. We're about this close to walking away, not walking away completely, but me and Melissa, we've been kind of talking of just completely staffing the moving company and managing it from remote for several different reasons. Stress levels are crazy, and we have other things to be kind of worried about than some of the small things that happen within our organization. So, I've been talking to several guys that's been in the industry for several years, and some of them have made some valid points. And one gentleman that was on the show actually, told me, he said, sometimes you're your own enemy in your own business from growth. And I had to really do an evaluation of that and really understand what the hell he was talking about. I'm going to care more about my business than anybody. But that ain't what he was talking about. He was mainly talking about, of course, you've turned, employees into friends, and now you feel sorry for them, and you know, employees are driven off of just like anybody else is driven off of money, and it gets to a point sometimes, man, of you're so tangled up, worried about, Mrs. Ingleston's dresser that got cracked, but it was already cracked and glued, you're tangled up a whole day dealing with that, and of course everything else that you had planned for that day to actually, push your business forward, you've kind of tangled your time up into that, man. And time is of the essence. And next thing you're doing all this stuff at home, and now you're not getting your family time. Now you're just not eating properly. And it's just, it becomes a lot, man. You know what I mean?
So I think what it comes down to is the type of person you are. If you're and there's no wrong or right way. It's a way though. But if you're a systems person and you run your business off of systems, it becomes a lot more easier, in my opinion, to scale that way because, hey, you can duplicate what you do into a system, and then basically anybody you put into the system allows you to continue to move forward out of the business. Versus if you're a person who is kind of fly, like you do stuff on the fly. Like, okay, well, hey, if you have to price jobs out, hey, you know how to price it out because you have the experience of pricing it out. Like some people grew, like I had like 4 trucks, but there was people that were where the same amount of time that I had in the business that had like 9 or 10 trucks. And those people were like, oh yeah, we got the trucks going out. I'm quoting this on the fly, whatever the case is, and no real thought behind it. So they had quick growth because I guess they weren't putting too much thought behind it. Just like when I did painting, I had a system. I had a spreadsheet that said, hey, if it's X amount of square feet, this is how much paint we're going to need. This is how many hours it's going to take to hit it with 2 coats. This is how much, manpower I'm going to need. And I had everything systematized. But sometimes that's a crippler as well versus a painter who can go in there and say, oh, you got 400 square feet? Okay, yeah, just pay me like $300, $400. Whereas me, I'm like, $300, $400. No, that don't even add up. That's paint by itself, you know, you know. So, but it just depends on who you are as a person and where you want to go with the business. Whereas I feel like in your case, where you want to be able to step away, you and Melissa want to step away, you're going to now have to go back to the drawing board and build the systems out, each department, each position. And it could take you a little while, but you can get there. And I would say probably spend this year just developing every position to be able to say, well, hey, I'm no longer a mover. I'm no longer a driver. Let me fire myself out of that position. And by the end of the year, you have, hey, even up to operations manager. So now your sales reps, if you hire a sales rep to come in, hey, what do you do when you come in at 8 o'clock in the morning? You check your emails, make sure no past customers had emailed you. You open up all of your documents. You know, if you have any sales scripts, you have any your CRM, whatever you got to open up, you open up to make sure that, hey, as soon as that first phone call comes in, you're ready to take that call without any issues.
Yep.
And and that's just building a system so that basically you don't have to explain their duties every day they come in. Hey Phil, what you need me to do today? Oh well, I need you. No, you know what you need to do. You're a sales rep. Get on the phone, start making calls, book these damn jobs.
And I think a lot of us, man, in the industry, man, at the beginning, a lot of us that started from, a little bit of nothing, we wore all, at some point, you wore all the hats, unless you just came into the industry with the money to be able to fully staff, your company. Some people came in with bank loans or, family money or, so I think everybody's, growth is going to be, determined off of that. So, you know what I mean? So just say you came into the business and you had, $1 million investment, right? Okay, you bought a truck, you put a little office in, of course, you didn't wear, you had somebody answering the phone and yada, yada, yada. You never really wore all the hats. Now, if you drag this out 7, 8 years of wearing all the hats, it's a lot, man, to put in onto paper and be like, okay, but then you just have to go back to the basics of, okay, what do I do when I first go in? Now, I got several other things going on, so I got a lot of other things so I just go back to the basics of, okay, when I first come in the door, I check the AC, right? Small things, right? The small things. And then, of course, I go around and look at all the trucks, make sure ain't nobody, any shit beside the truck. I mean, small stuff. And, and of course, check emails are already being checked, at home, unfortunately, on your phone now. But, and then, expressing to your staff how important it is if a lead came in at 5 a.m., you came in at 8, that should be priority, because sometimes you know how it is, man. The first person sometimes that take that call is the first, they get the job, and these people, they don't want to go back through that process. That's why a lot of moving companies take that time to spend with that customer on the phone, whether it's 15 or 20 minutes, because they don't want to go back through that again. They like, man, I got to call another company, and all the prices seem like they're about the same, and if it's local, you know what I mean? You're not talking about tens of thousands of dollars. You're talking about hundreds of dollars at that point. Like, do I really want to go back through that? Or 9 times out of 10, no. You know what I mean? You're gathering that information, man. But if I had to start back over, man, and start from year one, we would probably be we've been unscaled a lot more than we have, which we have scaled a lot. But there was a lot of mistakes made at the beginning of, undercutting ourselves. Whether it was supplies that we were just giving away, TV boxes, or things of that nature, selling. I had someone to tell me the other day, man, that he's like, oh, well, I don't really sell boxes. I just send a customer to Home Depot to pick them up. I'm like, well, what? Like, why would you, you know what I mean? A customer calls you and asks you, hey, why wouldn't you have some boxes somewhere you could sell a customer? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I would say try to consider offering like delivery services for the boxes as well if you haven't offered that yet. Whether it's free, if the order is over a certain amount, where you're like, well, hey, if you book over $800, we'll bring you 20 boxes free of delivery. But you'll pay for the boxes. We'll just send somebody out there with the 20 boxes, tape, whatever you need, and you can start your preparation.
Yeah. So you got to do, the thing of it is then you come into a competition level with Amazon at that point. You know what I mean? Because of course they've got bundles on and I went on there and looked and I'm like, man, damn, they'll actually bring it to your door just because you got Amazon Prime, just like they do free delivery. You know what I mean? For if it's Amazon Prime.
Yeah, but a lot of people are probably still picking their boxes up from the back of their office buildings. Oh, you throw out boxes? Let me take those boxes to my house because I gotta move. I ain't trying to pay for no boxes per se. So,
oh yeah.
So you're probably not competing.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, and some people just only want to deal with one. Me, I like when I go do something, I want to deal with only I'll only want to deal with one company. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't want to be scattered out, trying to go over here and do this and do over this over here. But that's just me. That's just my sanity purpose there. But like you say though, people still fishing around for liquor store boxes.
Yeah, no, I would say like your logo that you got in the back there, if you had that on your boxes, I think that would be tight. And plus, people remember your branding, especially that logo right there in the back.
Yeah,
Um,
that
so I
was
think, go ahead, go ahead.
that was an option that we were looking at as well. I think the company that the movie supplies, Chris Lappy's, they're
Mhm.
doing it now. They actually just sent us an email like a few months ago, and I forgot.
Yeah, Chris Loppy's are pretty good, pretty reliable for the most part. I think they only do, I think if I heard it right, like a particular delivery date in your area, or do they deliver anytime?
Well, we're only 45 minutes from them, so I mean, we could call long as it's before 10 or their truck is left. Just say if I call at 8 a.m.,
Mhm.
they'll have something here. I mean, as long as it's not like a huge order, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
If you got a couple pallets, they're gonna get it. They're gonna get it to you that day. You know.
Yeah, I got it. And I think we never order supplies that big. I think the only time we ever had to was well, there was two occasions. I think one when we had to order like 15 or more wardrobe boxes. I think we had to get that on a truck delivered. And then we had this one packing job where they told us to bring like 1,500. They didn't even say what to bring. They just said we need you to bring about $1,500 in packing supplies. So what the hell? Well, I know a kit because we sell it in kits, so it wasn't hard to like come up with that what 1,500 was. And when I tell you we had a 10-foot U-Haul truck full of supplies, I'm talking about like multiple boxes of bubble wrap, shrink wrap, tape, boxes, like the whole back of the 10-foot truck was filled. And we had like 4 or 6 guys there. We get there, the customer looks at the back of the truck, he's like, I don't need all these packing supplies. I'm like, sir, I'm just doing what they told me to do. Is bring $1,500 a pack of supplies, and
No.
we had to pay for it up front. So the company wasn't even going to reimburse us until the job was completed.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what? We brought it. That's all I care about. Just give us out 1,500 pack of supplies.
Mm, yeah, man. You
But
know, Chris Lappy has been really good for us here. There's another company here. I think it's Victory. Here, they kind of do it every. I think they put you on a date. I think it's like on this area, it's like Wednesday or something.
mhm.
So
Yeah, no, definitely like the one guy said, like said from Black Tie, where it's like Um, we kept a spreadsheet in our office where basically every at the end of every month we did reporting. And the reporting would be off of some of the reporting would be off of like what services you sold this month. So we would say, oh, well, hey, we sold X amount of packing jobs at this amount of revenue. We sold X amount of local moving jobs at this amount of revenue, storage, whatever service lines you have, you keep track of the revenue you made for that month, and what it placed towards your ultimate revenue goal for the year. So if we had a revenue goal of say $800,000 for the year, okay, well, hey, at the end of January, how much did each service line play towards that 800,000? And and we try to keep track of it that way. And when we have our meetings with our managers, and that's something that you could probably look to get into once you start hiring your team, is that hey, this is where we are. We sold uh let's say $5,000 in packing services this past month. We sold, 60,000 of moving services. Okay, so this is where we're going to probably want to tighten up, and you can see the numbers because you basically don't want to speculate. That's the worst thing you can do. Damn, it's snowing outside.
oh
That's the
wow.
worst. Yeah, that's the worst thing you want to do is speculate off of. Oh well, we think we did good. We made 100,000 last month, but how did you make the 100,000? you know. I was looking at and one of Louis Mazzaro's groups. I think that's what it's called. If I'm 100% sure. It goes. The person asks, "Oh, what is people's payroll percentages?" And everybody had that, and I think you responded in there as well.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "Oh, 30%." One guy said 50%, and then one guy responded, "Oh, well, that's. I'm glad you actually showed real numbers and stuff like that." And I'm like. I wasn't even going to respond. And I'm like, 50% sounds high. It don't sound like real numbers. It sounds like somebody's not doing something right.
Right. Right.
you know,
Right.
um, regardless if workers' comp is 10% or, taxes is all your taxes for your employees add up to 18%. you still can get to 28%, flat labor, and then, maybe an extra 2 to 3% with the taxes and be okay. To be at 50% of what you make is kind of crazy unless you're considering your admin staff.
Yeah. And that's what I was looking at as well. But I mean, our percent was way up there too at one point, and it was just wasted. That's why when I commented on that, a lot of time is just wasted. You know what I mean? With a lot of moving in the construction industry, same as well. You go to a gas station in the morning, you see 30 construction workers in a damn gas station in a work truck getting fuel. Guess what? They're on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
One way to get around that for those that's listening in is that, like I said, one, have your dispatchers there. If you have a dispatcher, he's there all day, most of the day. If the trucks get back early, have them prep the trucks for the next day. Versus what are they doing throughout the whole day? They dispatched at like 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay, what do you got them doing? Are they making phone calls, or is that your sales team making phone calls? If they're not making the phone calls because your sales team making phone calls, then they can be getting the stuff ready for the next day. Let's prep for the jobs tomorrow. And then basically when the trucks get back, oh well, truck number one. Truck number one needs this because it's going on this job tomorrow. Truck number two needs this. So they could be prepping those trucks throughout the day, making sure that they're ready. So then when the guys get there in the morning, hey, you know what? Give you about 30 minutes. Now, 30 minutes is going to, that's paid time. 30 minutes is going to allow you to do your truck inspection, check your equipment to make sure you got everything in there, your toolbox, everything that you were supposed to have in there is in there, and then basically get out the door. So everybody get their 30 minutes, and then basically on the way to the job, again, a way that I felt that worked and it never went against me was we paid them by the mile to get to the job. So you pay them by the mile to get to the job. So if they want to go to the gas station, they want to get, breakfast in the morning, they want to sit in at the gas station, not getting gas or doing anything work related, then hey, they're not getting paid for that time because basically we understand in the work world that people need to take some type of form of break. And they're there super early. So, okay, so we're gonna say, well, hey, from our headquarters to let's say Saratoga, New York, or whatever the case is, was 30 minutes or 30 miles. Well, they're gonna get paid 30 miles. Then when they get there, their billable time starts. As soon as they walk in the house, they need to be starting that clock, or before they even get in the house, as soon as they pull into the yard, start the clock, do they walk around, do whatever else they need to do, start the job. And then basically at the end of the job, they end the time, and then basically, oh, well, you're coming back from, say, Clifton Park. Okay, that's 25 miles. All right, well, we're going to pay you 25 miles to get back. Now, we know that these guys are going to drop somebody off on the way because maybe that guy took a bus in. Oh, well, he lived in this city. So we dropped him off before we came back to the shop. Now, in most cases, you're going to pay those guys as if they came back to the shop. And some people don't have that strict policy where like, oh, everybody comes back to the shop because we don't want to pay overtime. So you pay these guys to take their sweet time to come back to the shop, or you adjust it to say, oh, well, yeah, we're going to just take an hour off their time because we know that they're BSing. You're going to have more issues because you're speculating at that point because the guy's going to say, oh, we didn't take an hour. Why we got to lose an hour? So you have something that's trackable and manageable. Say, well, hey, 30 miles there, 25 miles back. Okay, you're going to get paid 55 miles. That's it. No more, no less. And, if you take a little bit of time to come back, obviously we'll have that conversation if you're taking 2 hours to come back from a 30-minute away trip, because now you're burning out fuel, you're wasting, you're putting our truck at risk of getting in an accident because you could came straight back.
Yeah. That's we had a guy one time, man. One of my other guys told me, he was like, I'm gonna let you know, man, this guy, every time we get ready to leave, he always sees which way it is to come back. And he said, oh, I'm gonna go this way because it's longer. Yeah, I fired him quick. Yeah, I didn't even give it a second chance on that one. For several different reasons, man. If he's gonna steal from you, he's gonna steal from your customers.
Mm-hmm. We had the guys like 2 minutes away from the shop. And they would be doing an unload 2 minutes away from the shop. So you're like, okay, once they're done with the unload, they bring the truck right back and they go about their business. But there was guys that lived, say, like 15 to 20 minutes away from the shop. So these guys were like, oh, well, this guy said he needed a ride home, so we're gonna drive him home. The hell? You 2 minutes away from the shop. If you don't bring that truck back, let him take that bus that he took to get to work, that we paid him to get here ultimately, you know, like, and that's the things that you got to catch. And only way you really catch stuff like that is if you have a tracker on your trucks. And I
Yeah.
felt like once we got a tracker on our trucks, it was game changing. Because not knowing where your vehicles are is a nightmare. And we had a couple of customers that we had held those stuff overnight. And we had 2 full trucks one day. And basically, one guy decided that it was like 8, 9 o'clock that he would take the truck home with stuff in it.
Oh boy.
And so now in the morning, I'm like, I'm already on edge. Like, I'm panicking. Like, yo, what if somebody just went over, like, in his neighborhood, just went into the truck, stole some stuff? Now we got to pay for it for the customer. Or what if this guy doesn't show up?
Right.
And, so now the guy, he ended up showing up late. Like, oh yeah, I woke up late. Dude, how you wake up late? You got our stuff, the customer stuff.
Right.
So, we definitely had to fire him after that. But it was just like stuff these guys do that you got to be on top of.
Oh yeah. Well, they'll take complete advantage of it, and I'm one that that has happened to.
Mm-hmm.
I just sometimes in the morning, man, I just have to literally, I'm just so bad OCD, man. I have to really, not just my employees, just in life too. I really have to ignore some stuff because, I say it as a joke sometimes, but my life was a lot easier when I didn't pay attention. I'm just a stickler on a lot of stuff, man. I don't know, man. The other morning I got so aggravated, dude. I literally just had to go in my truck and I just went in my truck and left. Got 2 guys arguing. One guy can't close his mouth. One guy teeth keep coming out of his mouth. One guy's drunk, and like, you know what I mean? Like, am I really even looking at this shit? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing right there, man. 7 a.m. in the morning, man, letting that ruin your day, right? I mean,
What is your
wake up.
routine? I'm sorry. What is your routine before you get up in the morning? Like, do you meditate? Do you get your mind right prior to going in?
I like to just go sit out on the back porch by myself, dude, and with nothing, no phone, no nothing, and just look dumb with my mouth open. No, I like to do nothing, man.
Mm.
That's just kind of my time. Everybody sleep, of course. I wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock, so ain't nobody else up, and that's my piece right there at the moment. Then I come here, and then of course, you just when you're dealing with a whole bunch of people, man, that's inconsistent. And a lot of my guys, man, I've been knowing these guys for years, man, and it's frustrating, man. No progression.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And you're like, damn, dude, am I failing at paying these guys properly, like where they can't progress? And that's another thing, really caring about people around you. You know what I mean? It's like, but then you have to get to a point of, man, people aren't progressing because they don't want to progress.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Once again, goes back to that thing of kind of removing yourself from being your own enemy in your own business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that shit throws me off, bro. Like it does, man. Watching stupid shit, man. I'm just like, man, I'm dealing with a whole bunch of damn clowns here. You know what I mean? Like, and
I would say
I think
you
I
gotta
called you.
yeah, I would
Didn't I
say you
call you
gotta
that day?
yeah, you damn sure did. But I was gonna say you gotta realize that sometimes money isn't a motivator. You could pay these guys an arm and a leg where you're like, oh well, hey, I'm paying my driver $30 an hour, I'm paying my movers $25 an hour. And it's not always a motivator because they begin to think that it's what they're worth. And they get comfortable. So
Yeah.
they're not looking to do anything extra because it is what they're worth. And when you say, well, hey, I'll give you a $2 raise. Okay, what is $2 raise? And what is tied to this $2 raise? If you just get them a $2 raise and say, hey, I'm going to just pay you more, they're going to feel like, hey, that's what I'm worth. That's what he thinks I'm worth. So I'm going to still do what I do, but it's that $2 is tied to nothing.
Yeah. See, I was bad about it. Melissa kind of pointed it out, dude. I was really bad about giving raises too quick. Right. I'm a guy, I live off loyalty, man. Guy shows up to work on time. Guy shows up, does a, pretty decent job, man. It wasn't nothing for me to give a $4 or $5 raise.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But then
that's
now,
insane. But
yeah. Now look at it. Now look, because there's no more, you're maxed out.
mm-hmm.
And I know for me, if I'm maxed out doing something, I'm going to feel like there's no push for me to do anything else. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But, as you know, we're in an unlimited income business, man, where, these guys are getting, and these are your customers, and you're actually planting to see, because a lot of these companies aren't planning to see kind of like we do. Like we put in our quotes, like, about tipping or whatever, yada, yada, yada. And kind of planting the seeds for these guys, man. And these guys get good. Got a guy, man, he keeps breaking shit, dude, and people keep giving him tips.
He must know how to talk to the customer, and sometimes that those people that have the venom, that know how to talk their way out of situations.
Yeah, man. And I couldn't understand. A $4,000 TV got broken. The customer still busting out hundreds. And I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, hold on. What did they tell this person? That's the thing now.
Mm-hmm.
The company's going to take care of it. They'll buy you a new one.
Mm-hmm. That's probably what he said.
You see what I'm saying? You got to be really, really cautious on what's been said, that goes back to the training of, listen, don't have any insurance talks with customer. You tell them where they need to go. The foreman tell the customer where they need to go to fill out their claim. And then the foreman says, well, it's just depending on the insurance that you signed off on 3 times. Not the insurance you signed off on, definitely the insurance you signed off on when I got here, but the other paperwork that you signed off on prior to us even coming here, and, not to be the guy that, to be a good company and try to, uphold to keeping a good reputation, man. These customers dig through your contract, and they ignore the stuff that they don't want to pay extra for, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just had this conversation with another moving company owner. Something had happened where there was a lot of damage on the job. And he said, this particular customer dug through my contract, asking questions, even asked questions about the 60 cents on the pound. Of course, explained to them, and something happened, of course. Oh, well, it wasn't expressed. It wasn't, it wasn't expressed to us enough that what it was. We just thought you guys had insurance, and
Yeah.
and a lot of people use that as an excuse, man, but they know.
Yeah.
They
No,
know
I think
exactly, they know exactly what they're signing up for.
No, I think that basically it depends when you're having this conversation with the customer. So I was a big believer in sales. The sales team is the sales team. Focus on answering the immediate questions to get the service on the books.
Right.
And then basically from there, we're going to send the customer information on evaluation and all our terms and conditions, et cetera, as when they get their quote. They look over their quote. They have the terms and conditions as well. As you probably doing the same thing. They have all their terms and conditions they can read. Hey, sign your estimate because we can't book you unless you sign your estimate. So you're in agreement to the terms as well as the quote. Now, we'll give you a call maybe 7 days out or very close to your job to say, hey, we're just calling to check up, make sure all the details of your move is still accurate. We're going to bring you 4 guys, 2 trucks, etc. And then we're going to go over valuation. So we're going to be very clear when we have this conversation, because I think if you jumble up the valuation with your sales talk, they're getting overwhelmed with so much information.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's another thing there, because a lot of moving companies are going to try to tangle around that 60 cents on the pound. whatever your state requirements is, like you just said,
I had 30 cents per pound, and I was shy to tell people.
Yeah, man. But we always tell customers, it's impossible for us to take out a full valuation insurance for each move. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I mean, the unfortunate is when you go buy a car and someone hits you and it's not your fault, somehow you end up paying something. It
A
end up costing
deductible. Yeah.
your deductible time. I mean, you know what I mean? Something, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And God forbid you don't have gap insurance
Oh
and
yeah.
you owe $60,000 on this $30,000 car, because guess what they're gonna say? Even though this car is total, right?
Hmm.
You still owe this $30,000, right? Well, there's nothing you can say at that point. You didn't purchase it, you ain't got it, right?
The crazy part is they don't usually charge you for the gap coverage, I don't believe.
Oh yeah, you got to pay for gap, bro.
Oh, okay.
Oh
It's
yeah, you
usually
got.
not that much though.
No, bro, it's average, and it goes off price of vehicle, and it averages. I was in the car business a long time,
Hmm.
$15 to maybe $30 a month, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
and they don't, and sometimes these dealers don't even tell you about the gap coverage. They're so
mm-mm.
busy trying to sell a car that they're like, oh yeah, just sign here, sign here. And I just asked
Yeah,
my fiance the same thing. I'm like, hey, did you get gap coverage? She's like, what's that? I'm like, oh, no.
yeah, man. And I learned about gap insurance when I was in the car business, man. I sold a young lady a car, and dude, she literally pulled out on the main road leaving, and somebody T-boned her and totaled the car. It was a brand new car, bro.
Mm.
Literally a week later, bro, she came to that dealership cussing me out and yada yada. I done sold her I think it was like $50,000 car. The insurance was only saying it was worth 40 and yada yada yada. And she didn't no gap insurance. And
Hmm.
but the in the car business, of course, the finance manager is the person that pitches that gap insurance, not the salesperson, right?
Hmm.
So she declined it. Of course, like, what do you want me to do about it? I mean, you didn't purchase it. Oh, I think you should have to pay the remaining because the car's total, and now the the loan company is saying that I still owe them $10,000, and I don't have a car. You can play that in
Yeah,
the same sequence with the 60 cents on the pound. You know what I mean? It's free insurance.
yeah.
You know,
No, and that definitely makes sense. I had an issue where just recently where I had I think a 2014 nice Cadillac, and I was feeling like a boss. Had the sunroof and everything in there, Phil, and I was like, yeah, let's go. I'm excited. Got a nice car. Didn't really like it because getting an oil change was like $150 on it because it needed that good oil. And I was like,
oh
God,
boy.
yeah. I'm like, this is not going to be a long term type of thing. So I was at a gas station waiting for one of my workers to come, and this guy pulls up at the gas station. Now I'm outside the gas station, like on the main street, but it's like right by the pull up entrance, like if he was pulling into the gas station. And this guy got out of his car, went into the gas station. Now I wasn't paying attention, but I obviously know of the story. So he got out of his car, went to the gas station. Next thing you know, somebody screaming at me. Somebody on the side were like, "Hey, hey, 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 hey!" And then next thing you know, the car just hits me, like the back end of my car where the gas tank was, in a sense. I was like, "What the hell?" Like I'm by the sidewalk, not in anybody's way or anything like that. All of a sudden, so the guy comes out of the gas station running, and he said, "Oh snap! I had left my car in neutral, and it
Oh
rolled
boy.
and it rolled down the hill when he went into the gas station, and I hit my car." Like, oh, this is fucking great.
Oh
So
man.
luckily, I had the gap coverage because basically they was like, oh yeah, the car is worth like 14, I think like 14,000, and I had like maybe 12 or 11,000 left. So they basically just wiped that whole debt away and say, hey, the car is totaled. We'll give you like 2,000, $2,500 back. You could buy a new car pretty much. I was like, all right, sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
But now, yeah, I'm glad I didn't have to pay off the rest of that loan. That would have been scary.
Oh yeah, man. And yeah, and that's kind of, that's I think one of the biggest problems in the industry, man, of people, and I look at a lot of other moving company reviews, and I take a lot of it with a grain of salt. And you see a lot of these companies, they just stand behind their contract, and these customers are, oh, I just thought as a reputable company they would stand behind, and it's like, okay, you just tore my whole contract apart, nitpicking everything, and now, unfortunately, something happened. Because I think with this particular TV, and the TV I'm talking about got damaged, I think it happened because it was dark. And I think one of my guys, I know the guy accidentally hit a speed bump because he was in a box. And the truck slammed down on the back really hard. And, that was, kind of cargo related. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And, but what do you do? You know what I mean? I mean, it took her almost, I thought that she just wasn't going to file the claim because we sent her contract over and highlighted, where she signed off on 60 cents on a pound. And each time she did it, and each time she looked at the email and, everything. And now it's like, okay, what do you do? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, that's the thing. I think you were stressing yourself out when you already knew the answer to it. And the answer was, hey, you have 60 cents per pound. Go off of the 60 cents per pound. And then basically in good faith, if you like, oh, well, you know what? My guy actually did do that. He could have probably avoided that. You know what? I'll throw extra 200, 300 in on that, or whatever the case is, depending on your margins for that job. If you only made like $800 off that job, then $200-300 might be too much. But if you made a decent amount off that job, $200-300 might be a small feat. So you might say, hey, you know what? I'll pay you $200 just off of the 60 cents per pound, and then I'll pay you extra 200 in good faith, so $400 for this claim. And that's the max we will be able to offer. And we're offering 200 in good faith because we know that, whatever the case is. But when you're in an unregulated state, customers expect you to break the bank.
Oh, yeah. And that's it. The unfortunate on that situation with us as well is, we had to let a guy go because he was drunk, reeking in alcohol. Customer called, of course, something was wrong with that guy. Like, this is another problem there, man. Like, dang, man.
In New York State, you can't have a drug test for marijuana now because it's legal.
Ain't that something? So these guys around here freaking completely stupid. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the most dumbest shit, dude, I've ever even listened to, because these guys smoke the shit, dude, and they're walking around here like freaking zombies, dude. Like, you know what I mean?
Some people can't even function without it. That's the sad part. You're like, yo, don't come to work. Don't come to work without smelling like weed, or whatever the case is. And they're just like, you can see that they cannot function without it. But when they got it in their system, some of them are like animals. Like, yo, let's get this done. Let's get this done. Let's get this done. Like they want that stuff.
They don't sit there talking shit. The thing of it is people want to try to category, the cocaine and crack and weed and shit. No, you might well just be a crackhead. Shit. I mean, you know what I mean? I hate to say it like that, but I mean, it gets to that point, bro. I've been around stuff and people my whole life, bro. And some of the shit I see with the people in their youth, man, is sad. $300 or $400 a damn week. Like, damn, $500 a week smoking weed. What the hell?
But no, it happens. But everybody, I know we're at the end of the hour, so we definitely want you to have a great, great New Year's. Close out your books. Close out, set your yearly goal for next year. Sit down today, tomorrow, before Monday, and really set the goal. Write it down on paper. What do you want to hit next year? Write down the numbers. Hey, I want to hit 800. I want to hit 2 million. Okay, well, hey, see where you finished off this year. See what worked. See what didn't work. Get rid of what didn't work, and try to add on top of that so that basically you can get to that 2 million or 800,000, wherever you want to be. But what you do to get to 800,000 compared to what you do to get to 2 million isn't going to be the same process. So you definitely need to change it up, switch it up, advance your services, do a little bit more, charge a little bit more, or charge less, but charge more in your surrounding supplies that you provide to the customers. So hey, if you wasn't to charge for mattress bags, charge for mattress bags. You wasn't charged for shrink wrap, charge for shrink wrap. Basically make your money in these different areas to get you to that same goal versus, oh well, hey, I need to raise my rates from 160 to $200 to see that 2 million. Where you can keep it at 160 and raise everything else around it and still get to that 2 million.
Yeah.
So definitely is your year, 2024. All right.
Woo!
See y'all later. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.